Hey guys, it's Diego the Lego here, and today we're gonna be counting down the top 5 rarest Golden Age comics. This is my first comic video I've been wanting to make, like I said in the last video, but let's just dive right into it. Starting off our list at number 5 is Captain America. Yeah, this one is a very rare comic. Cause Captain America, it's not just the fact that it came out 79 years ago. It's also because Captain America has been featured in a lot of movies, and when a character gets featured in a lot of movies and there's a premiere issue that was made a long time ago, it's gonna rise in price, obviously. So yeah, this is a pretty rare comic. It's the first one with Captain America ever. In this was his premiere issue. So, yeah, it's a pretty crazy comic. Yeah, definitely a good one to add into your collection, but many people don't have it. It's probably, if I had to say, there's probably like 200 of these left in existence, and you're probably lucky to get it at like a lot of these Golden Age comics premiere issues are like usually around the millions. So I'd say 900,000 maybe. I don't know. These are pretty rare comics. Cause not a lot of people own them. Cause these were premiere issues. Everybody wants them, especially after the movie comes out. Speaking of which, this one's also started rising in price after the new movie came out. Wiz Comics was a very rare comic. It kind of copied another comic that we're about to feature in this list. But anyway, Wiz Comics debuted same time as Captain America 79 years ago, back in 1940. Yeah, it's a pretty rare comic. Cause it's the first one to feature Shazam, or he was used to be called Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel or Shazam. Well, he was called Captain Marvel until DC started issuing legal issues because he looked too similar to what was his name? He looked too similar to Superman, but then they're just like they acquired the rights to Shazam because he had to change his name because I'm pretty sure Marvel ended up getting the rights to Captain Marvel. They changed his name, and then eventually DC ended up owning him, the one who had legal issues in the first place. It was a whole mess. But yeah, that's how the new movie came out, and there's most likely going to be a sequel. But yeah, this was a pretty rare comic. I'd say around 1 million. 1 million, you're going to get this comic if you ever do find it. Very rare. Speaking of rare, All American Comics number 16 to feature the Green Lantern. Oh boy. He looked way different back then. He looked way different. They changed him at some point in the 50s to look the same way he does now. And he looks nothing like his old appearances where he used magic to summon his powers. Green Lantern, I'm pretty sure was the first of the lanterns. I don't know, but he was definitely the first of the lanterns. That's why he was most popular, and everybody doesn't remember the the red lantern and the orange lantern and all those other lanterns. But yeah, this was probably a rare comic. Like, these are in the millions. I'd say 2 million for this comic. 2 million, and that one is like 1.5 million Wiz Comics. But yeah, definitely not an easy one to find. Especially since most Golden Age comics, if you're looking to put them in your collection, are probably around the 100,000s. These are around the millions because they're premiere issues in Golden Age. So yeah, and Captain America, but as well as Green Lantern have been featured in a lot of movies, and once they're featured in movies, they gain a lot of traction and the prices skyrocket. Not like this comic wasn't even pricey like 50 years ago. It was even pricey back then because it was a premiere issue. But like even 30 years ago, like it was very rare, especially when the new movie came out with a Green Lantern. Speaking of rare comics, yeah, this one was very rare back when the 1989 Batman movie came out, when it turned 50. This was 1939's Detective Comics number. This was 1939's Detective Comics number 27, which was the first one to feature Batman. Yeah, Batman. I'm pretty sure Robin wasn't in this comic. He only appeared until later on. But yeah, Detective Comics was a very rare comic. Funny thing is that comics have been progressively having less pages, because you'd buy a comic for 10 cents and it have 64 pages, but now you buy a comic and it has like half of that for like $5. Yeah, I mean, I guess 10 cents was more than it was back then, but still, that's a lot of pages. Anyway, yeah, Batman is a very influential character. To get one of these is like, around 2 to 3 million. Probably never, if I ever have a collection, well, I do have a collection, and I am collecting comics, but yeah, this one, you are lucky to find and look at, but there's no actual, like, people aren't sure what price it is, because these haven't been sold in recent history. What has been sold in recent history is Action Comics number 1, and this one was the first one to have Superman. Reason why it's been sold in recent history was in 2014 it got sold for $3.2 million. Yeah, that was back in 2014. People don't know how many copies of this are alive, and yeah, this is the number 1 rarest comic, because it started the genre. It started Superman. Yeah. This one on screen is probably like, I'm pretty sure it's like the best condition comic that it is in. It still got graded a 9.0 because they had nothing else to compare it to. Not many people own this comic. It's very rare. They got sent into the grading company. But yeah, this comic, it was the first one to have Superman. It showed how Superman came from, it showed how Superman came from, the, it came from, crypt, like, I forgot what it was called. He was a Kryptonian, so he came from that planet when it was about to blow up. The first panel was showing him going out in a space rocket, and then he was found by a few people who found out about his supernatural strength. You guys all know the story. It's practically like Spider-Man at this point. But yeah, this was being sold for 10 cents back then. Now this is like $4 million, maybe $4 million, maybe 5 million. Yeah, this is gonna, like, I'm pretty sure, this was being sold along with the 1939 Batman, as a collectible, and you would have gotten a free collectible copy. That isn't a real. It was a reproduction as part of a giveaway. Those are worth around $20, maybe 10. Nowadays. Anyway, yeah. Those were sold as promotional back in the 1980s. Now these are even rarer when they were back then, 30 years ago, and a lot of people want this comic, but there's a lot of reasons why this isn't rare. Like, there's like an entire community around why, like, this comic's so rare, because people ripped it, torn it when they were like back in the 30s. Anyways, this is around the end of the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm going to be posting more tomorrow, and see you guys. Bye.